Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are diving into a truly grand cosmic journey alongside one of the most fascinating figures in all of human history. I'm talking about Ra, the ultimate ancient Egyptian sun deity. We're going to break down everything from his awe-inspiring creation myths all the way to his nightly life-or-death battles in the underworld. So get ready because we're about to look at this guy in a completely different way. Okay, let's dive into this. When you think of a sun god, you probably just imagine someone sitting up in the clouds, passively shining down on the world, right? Well, for the ancient Egyptians, that couldn't be further from the truth. Maintaining the universe was a grueling 24-hour-a-day job. Every sunrise was a massive victory, and every single sunset was the beginning of a terrifying struggle. To really understand Ra is to understand a deity who literally had to fight for the survival of the world every single day. But before we get into his wild daily schedule, let's nail down exactly who we're talking about. Ra wasn't just some abstract symbol of the sun. He was the god of order, kings, and the sky itself. But the absolute key thing I want you to take away from this is that he wasn't just a spiritual figurehead up in the heavens. He was deeply, deeply woven into the political reality of Egypt. In fact, he was actually believed to have ruled on earth as the very first pharaoh. He literally set the precedent for every human king that followed. So he's an active, dynamic ruler of the entire created world. Section 1. The Creator Emerges. It's honestly incredible to think about the sheer scale of this myth. According to ancient Egyptian belief, before time even began, there was nothing but chaos. Just a vast, dark, endless, watery abyss known as none. But out of those primordial waters rose a pyramid-shaped mound called the Ben. And upon that mound was a lotus flower. When that flower finally blossomed, out emerged Ra, bringing glorious light and order to all that darkness. As the ancient text powerfully states, I am Atum when he was alone in none. I am Ra when he dawned, when he began to rule that which he had made. He dawned and he immediately began to rule over the magnificent reality he had just called into existence. Now, what's really interesting about this is exactly how we fit into this grand creation story. We weren't elegantly sculpted from clay or gently breathed into existence. The ancient Egyptians believed that all other forms of life were created when Ra simply spoke their secret names. But humans, we were a bit more visceral. We were born directly from the sun god's tears and sweat. Think about that for a second. Whether they were tears of absolute joy or the literal sweat of his cosmic labor, the Egyptians viewed themselves as profoundly connected to Ra. They actually famously referred to themselves as the cattle of Ra, living under his divine, protective herdsmanship. Section 2. Midday. Power, pharaohs, and mergers. Let's move to Namid and see how this builds, because Ra didn't actually start out as the undisputed king of the cosmos. Back in the Second Dynasty, he was more of a localized sun cult. But then, look at the Fourth Dynasty, this is when things get serious. Pharaohs literally start calling themselves the sons of Ra. By the Fifth Dynasty, he is the ultimate state deity. Pharaohs are practically bankrupting the national treasury to build these massive, specially aligned sun temples and obelisks in his honor. He goes from being a local deity to the ultimate source of all political and spiritual legitimacy in the entire empire. But here's where Ra gets beautifully complex. You see, he wasn't just one guy with one face. His identity actually shifts depending on the time of day. In the morning, as the rising sun, he is Khepri, usually represented as a scarab beetle pushing the sun over the horizon. Then at midday, when the sun is at its absolute most powerful, he becomes Ra Horek-Heti, that iconic man with a falcon's head. And finally, at night, when the sun sets, he transforms into Khnum-Ra, a man with a ram's head. It's just a brilliant way of visually explaining the changing, dynamic nature of the sun throughout a single 24-hour cycle. And his identity was so flexible, it actually led to one of the most brilliant political mergers in ancient history. During the New Kingdom, the rulers in the city of Thebes really wanted to elevate their local god of wind, Amun. But they knew they couldn't just ignore Ra, who was already wildly popular across the board. So what did they do? They combined them. They literally created a divine corporate merger to form Amun-Ra. It was a genius consolidation of power, marrying the unseen, omnipresent force of the wind with the visible, undeniable power of the sun. The result? An absolutely unstoppable king of the gods. Section 3. Dusk. The underworld journey. So the crucial point here is the actual logistics of the sun god's daily commute, because he didn't just walk across the sky. He sailed. During the day, he rode high in the Manjet, the morning boat. But as evening fell, he would pass through the Akhet, the horizon gate in the west. And this wasn't just a pretty sunset, it was a literal doorway. Once he passed through, he transferred to the Messaket, the evening boat, to sail the subterrestrial underground Nile through the 12 terrifying regions of the Duat, which is the Egyptian underworld. As he descends into that darkness, Ra physically transforms. He is no longer that powerful, falcon-headed warrior of noon. He actually merges with Osiris, the god of the dead, and becomes Khnum Ra. Ancient texts describe him in the state so beautifully, but somberly. He's an aging, weary king. But even then, he retains his divine majesty. He's described as having golden flesh, silver bones, and hair made of precious blue lapis lazuli. So he's vulnerable, yes, but still overwhelmingly divine. Section 4. Midnight. Battling the Chaos Serpent. Because lying in wait beneath those dark waters is Apophis, or ape. And guys, this isn't just a snake. This is a gargantuan, cosmic serpent who embodies Isfet. Pure, unadulterated chaos. Apophis's sole mission every single night is to devour the sunboat or stop it in its tracks using a terrifying hypnotic stare. If Apophis wins, the sun simply doesn't rise. Creation ends. It is a nightly, high-stakes action thriller with the fate of the entire universe hanging in the balance. But because Ra is in this aging, vulnerable state, he doesn't fight this battle alone. He actually has a specialized elite squad of deities riding right alongside him in the boat. You've got Set, the fierce god of storms, standing right at the prow to physically spear and overcome Apophis. You have Mihen, a coiled serpent god, protecting Ra from all the other underworld monsters. And then you have these conceptual gods, Saya giving him perception, Hu giving him command, and Heka providing the raw magical power needed just to survive the night. It's the ultimate supreme team effort to keep the universe moving forward. Section 5. The Enduring Legacy of Ra. Spoiler alert, the sun rises. The boat makes it through the underworld, Apophis is defeated for yet another night, and Ra is gloriously reborn at dawn. But Ra's influence wasn't just up in the sky or down in the underworld. He actually had enforcers right here on Earth. He created these incredibly powerful daughters, often referred to as the Eyes of Ra, to do his bidding. There was Bastet, the fierce but fiercely protective feline deity. There was Hathor, representing joy, music, and the pacified, loving aspect of the eye. But if humanity stepped out of line, there was Sekhmet, a terrifying, bloodthirsty lioness who served as the completely vengeful instrument of the sun god's wrath. And this brilliantly illustrates one of the wildest, most wonderful stories in all of Egyptian mythology. Basically, humans were plotting against Ra, so he unleashed Sekhmet to punish them, but she went completely out of control, just slaughtering humans left and right. Realizing humanity was about to be totally wiped out, Ra had to intervene fast. His brilliant solution? He ordered thousands of jugs of beer to be dyed red and poured all across the land. Sekhmet, thinking it was a giant lake of blood, drank the whole thing, got incredibly drunk, and peacefully transformed back into the gentle goddess Hathor. So yeah, a literal hangover saved the entire human race. It's an amazing story, right? But it leaves us with a much deeper thought. From his fiery emergence from the waters of chaos, to his daily commute across the sky, to his terrifying nightly battles with the Serpent of Darkness, Ra's story is fundamentally about the fragile, constant balance of order and chaos. And it really makes you wonder, how much of our modern world, our stories, our movies, our very own human struggles still rely on this ancient 24-hour cycle of light constantly fighting to overcome the darkness? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you never look at a sunrise the exact same way again.